to do with this. It says, when Yahushua heard it, he marveled and said to them that followed, verily I say unto you, I have not found so great faith. No, not in Israel. And I say unto you that many. So I have not found so great faith, no, not in Israel. And I say unto you that many shall come from the east and west, and shall sit down with Abraham and Isaac and Jacob in the kingdom of heaven. But the kingdom of heaven shall be but the children of the kingdom shall be cast out into outer darkness, and there shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth. Yeah, you're gonna have those that are basically not in the so-called inner circles, in those prestigious places where it's like back then it was the circumcision. Those that basically knew the Israelites, that've been keeping the laws, raised up as Israelites in the land, so-called following the scriptures. Among them there was all form of wicked men, but then you had those that were of the elect, those that Yahushua foreknew. They were scattered around, man. And it's the same thing to this day. Now you have it where you have the dark-skinned Jakes, you have the guys in Israel trying to say like, oh, it's all gonna be tall, dark Jakes. They're gonna be Israelites. They ain't dealing with the Israelite foreigners. That's something that's come up time and again. Where it's like you'll have Israelites, they're not gonna look like Shaft. Then they're going to be looking like Denzel Washington. They're going to come. Looking all different forms of ways. But then what? It's all about the spirit, and that's the same thing. That's why those that Yahushua knew it's not caught up in those frameworks, man, of him being a centurion, because his level of faith was spectacular. It says what? And Yahushua said unto the centurion, go thy way, and as thou hast believed, so be it done unto thee. And his servant was healed in the self-same hour. Yeah, as thou hast believed, so as his faith. That's what allowed his servant to be healed. And that's, these things, it's all about doing things through faith. There was a point in there I wanted to extrapolate on. Oh. Come on. Damn. Okay.
What it doesn't be is me and Mandy sharing a room.
Okay. So Hebrews 2. Okay. Hebrews 2 and 5. For unto the angels hath he not put in subjection the world to come, whereof we speak, but one in a certain place testified, saying, what is man that thou art mindful of him, or the son of man that thou visitest him? Thou madest him a little lower than the angels. Thou crownedest him with glory and honor, and didst set him over the works of thy hands. Thou hast put all things in subjection under his feet, for in that he put all in subjection under him, he left nothing that is not put under him. But now we see not yet all things put under him. Yeah. So everything was basically put in subjection underneath Yahweh Shai. So that's why he said, oh, you have authority. Because why? Yahweh Shai does have the authority. But it says what? But now we see not yet all things but under him. Because we're basically waiting. Yahweh Shai is presently, after he got beamed up in Acts 1 and 10, or 1 and 9, when it was caught up in the cloud, he's been at the right hand of the Most High, basically waiting to receive everything being in subjection, receive his kingdom. This is what we see Yahweh Shai, who was made a little lower than the angels for the suffering of death, crowned with glory and honor, that he, by the grace of the Most High, should taste death for every man. For it became him, for whom are all things, and by whom are all things, in bringing many sons unto glory, to make the captain of their salvation perfect through sufferings. Yeah. So Yahweh Shai had to come on the scene as Yahweh Shai, come as a man to basically be put to death, go up on the cross to what? Be made perfect through the sufferings, man. Because it says, don't believe it's in here. But yeah, it says Yahweh Shai on the cross was what? A sweet savor, man, unto the Lord. It says what? But both he that sanctifieth and they who are sanctified are all of one, for which cause he is not ashamed to call them brethren. Yeah, we get to be joint heirs. If we follow in the path, we endure unto the end, we stay within Yahweh Shai, then we get to be called brethren, we get to be called, be joint heirs. Saying, I will declare thy name unto my brethren, in the midst of the church will I sing praise unto thee. And again I will put my trust in him, and again, behold, I and the children which the Most High have given me. But yeah, that's hey, Yahweh Shai has that authority, man, and that's how he's recognized. Because as far as it's like even in the modern day, Esau's tried to flip it to where it's like, oh, he's just a man who was, on the scene, he's maybe, he might have been able to, just hoodwink some people, or he just had some particularly unique teachings that made people follow him. No, but hey, Yahweh Shai, when he was on the scene, he performed these miracles, man. And what he achieved through coming down here is beyond spectacular, man. You essentially have people trying to take the shine away from Yahweh Shai. But these it was a process of events that the Lord made happen. Why? So that he basically could have his son and his name exalted and put up on that level, man. Let me read this. Jeremiah 51. The word that the Lord Yahweh spake against Babylon, against the land of the Chaldeans, by Jeremiah the prophet. Declare ye among the nations, publish, set up a standard, publish and conceal not. Say, Babylon is taken, Bel is confounded, and Merodach is broken in pieces. Her idols are confounded, her images are broken in pieces. And that as well, it's like Bel and Merodach, these are those chief idols that were in Babylon. And it's like, now what? These are the chief idols, and it's just like now these modern idols. It shows a good example of that is American gods. Because American gods, it basically had, you had the ancient deities where they were still around on the scene. They would essentially be renewed, given a new identity through interacting with either the new either dealing with these new gods like the internet and whatnot, social media and various things, and then they'll go from the ancient, because the good example would be what the hell was her name? Was it Semiramis? No, but it was with a B, man. The Galaxy, the black woman, man, where it had her like fucking breaking niggas down and eating them up into a galaxy vagina. what was it? But I can't remember the name right now. Let me, I'll Google it. Let's see. Bilquis. That's the one. Bilquis. So yeah, they had what's her name? Bilquis. She basically modernized through using what was it? Tinder, man. She was utilizing Tinder. So instead of getting an ancient love worship the way she used to, through temples and worship, now it was done through these different apps, where she'll get men following her and fiending over her, man. That way. And then you had with Ishtar, man. Ishtar, which is that's the same thing that's been done with Easter, where they basically had her instead of the old ancient worship of Easter, they mix up with Caesar, because they had it like where on Easter they were doing like the Easter bunny thing, but then they were saying like, oh, they had a bunch of all the different versions of Caesar come through as well, and show like, hey, this is the new way that you've basically been able to modernize your worship. And that's what's happened with a lot of these ancient idols, these ancient forms of worship. They've been integrated with new modern things, because now we're about to go into Christmas. That's there's like 3 more days. 3 more days for what do you call it? 3 more days for the start of the winter solstice. But hey, when you go to Christmas, it basically goes back to that worship of the winter solstice. Same thing for Easter. Goes back to Ishtar. It goes back to what is it? The spring equinox. The worship around these times. These things are all linked to like sun worship. All ancient customs that people follow. And people have been going back and worshipping just the old customs now as well. You have people talking about Easter and basically just going and being like, oh, they'll just worship, what do you call it? They'll just worship the Beltanes and Samain and all these different ancient pagan forms of worship. Now they're just getting into it. So it says, for out of the north there cometh up a nation against her, which shall make her land desolate, and none shall dwell therein. They shall remove, they shall depart, both man and beast. Yeah, you're gonna have that force, Russia, chiefly coming against the US, man. That new Babylon, the US, getting done in, man. And it's basically gonna have all the nations come together as well. It says they're all gonna hate the horn burning with fire. So it says, in those days and in that time, saith the Lord Yahweh, the children of Israel shall come, they and the children of Judah together, going and weeping. They shall go and seek the Lord Yahweh, their power. Yeah, you having Jake coming back into worshiping Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, dealing with the truth, man. Rebuilding the house of David. All the tribes coming back together, which is something you haven't seen. It's the tribes coming back together, not since Solomon was on the scene. After Solomon passed, that's when the tribes got rent, man, from Rehoboam. The 10 tribes got split. Now it's something that's not been seen in millennium. So it says, they shall ask the way to Zion with their faces thitherwards, saying, come and let us join to ourselves to the Lord in a perpetual covenant. There shall not be forgotten. My people have been lost sheep. Their shepherds have caused them to go astray. And that's still to this day hella relevant, man. Because that's something that has been like with Jake, man, those false prophets, these false shepherds, leading Jake astray, that still happens, man. Esau's quantified that false shepherdom in this modern celebrity lifestyle, where you have people that are through basically having some form of talent completely unrelated to any form of integrity or their worth as a person. Just because they have a talent, they're upheld as someone to aspire to be like, man, or to herald as an idol, someone to emulate. But then, hey, you follow and you emulate after these people, and all you're gonna like. These are guys who've sold out and done all form of vile things to basically attain a certain type of lifestyle. Which, cool, they've done that. Cool if they've done that. But then what? It's like, even if just because they've attained a certain level of lifestyle, that doesn't mean they're worth emulating, man. And that's, hey, Jake is all caught up in that, man. Trying to be actors, trying to be social media stars, trying to be musicians, basically trying to attain. They're envious of Esau as well. They're trying to attain some form of fame or glory that Esau has, not knowing how and why he has these things. So it says, they have turned them away on the mountains. They have gone from mountain to hill. They have forgotten their resting place. All that they found, all that found them. I read it again. It says, my people have become lost sheep. Their shepherds have caused them to go astray. They have turned them away on the mountains. They have gone from mountain to hill. They have forgotten their resting place. All that found them have devoured them, and their adversaries said, we offend not, because they have sinned against the Lord. Yeah, these guys know, they know the text. They know basically if the Lord's displeased with Israel, then they basically have free reign for a season to come and jack up Israel. They can go and lay hands on them. They can do all forms of things. The Lord's not going to cover them. That's why he's basically judging them in that time. But then even then, just because they were the Lord allowed them to lay their hands on Israel, that doesn't mean they get off scot-free. And that's why the ledger's there. All these heathen nations, they have their ledger, which, hey, the Lord remembers, man. So it says what? And their adversaries said, we offend not, because they have sinned against the Lord Yahweh, the habitation of justice, even the Lord Yahweh, the hope of their fathers. Remove out of the midst of Babylon, and go forth out of the land of the Chaldeans, and be as the he-goats before the flock. For lo, I will raise and cause to come up against Babylon an assembly of great nations from the north country, and shall set themselves in array against her, for thence she shall be taken. Their arrows shall be as of a mighty expert man. None shall return in vain. And Chaldea shall be a spoil. All that spoil her shall be satisfied, saith the Lord Yahweh. Yeah, them arrows, man. That's, hey, the missiles are going to do work against Babylon, man. Because, hey, just as the former Babylon went down in its time, it had its time, had the bounds set. Once the bounds passed, then, hey, I believe it was it Cyrus or Darius? I think it was Darius was loosed to basically go forth. Yeah, Darius. To go forth and basically, hey, bring it into it. Now it's going to be, hey, them Russians, man, leading all these nations, all these conflicts that you see in the middle. Hey, in and around Ukraine, you've got hella reports saying that like hundreds of thousands of troops are being amassed. Because why? Russia's looking to expand they're looking to build up their influence, and they even had an article saying as well that China was looking to put missiles in and around the Atlantic, which is fucking batshit crazy when you think about it. And that's like something on the scale of the Cuban Missile Crisis. That's like the scale of how insane it is for that to be allowed to happen. So hey, that Third World War is fermented. So it says, because you were glad, verse 11, because you were glad, because you rejoiced, O ye destroyers of mine heritage, because you are grown fat as a heifer at grass, and bellow as bulls. Your mother shall be sore confounded, she that bare you shall be ashamed. Behold, the hindermost of the nations shall be a wilderness, a dry land and a desert. Yeah, the hindermost. Because as far as when you go from what was the known, I believe they call it the known world, and then America was the new world. When you go from nomos to new world, that's the hindermost. That new America in that new world, it says what shall be a wilderness. No, the hindermost of the nations shall be a wilderness, a dry land and a desert. Because of the wrath of the Lord, it shall not be inhabited, but it shall be wholly desolate. Every one that goeth by Babylon shall be astonished and hiss at all her plagues. Yeah, everyone's going to be, it's in Revelation 18, all those that stand afar off are going to wail. They're all going to wail. Because why? They've all invested in America, man. They're all going to be like, no, the money, the lifestyle. They're going to be lamentating, man. Says what? Put yourselves in array against Babylon round about. All ye that bend the bow, shoot at her, spare no arrows, for she hath sinned against the Lord Yahweh. Shoot against her round about, she hath given her hand, her foundations are fallen, her walls are thrown down. For it is the vengeance of the Lord Yahweh. Take vengeance upon her, as she hath done, do unto her. Yeah, as she's done, do unto her. And that's, hey, the way America's dealt with the world, it shouldn't be a mystery, man. Them guys in Japan are all kinds of decimated, man. From them nukes being dropped, they're still feeling a certain kind of way. All forms of different nations, they've basically got reasons to be looking the Western world like, yo, the way these guys dealt with us, these guys fucked us over, man. And we've had no recourse. Once that's the thing. It's the Lord's basically had Esau in a state where there's been no recourse. It says what? What did it say about Cain? Any who takes action against Cain we returned on him sevenfold. And then that emboldened him. Same thing with Esau now. He's basically had the spirit on him where he's been able to go out and enact anything he wills or desires. So then what? He's basically not been he's been moving with impunity. But then what? Done onto it. So it says, cut off vengeance upon as she had done do unto her. Cut off the sower from Babylon, and him that handleth the sickle in the time of harvest. For fear of the oppressing sword, they shall turn every one to his people, and they shall flee every one to his own land. Yeah, everyone's going to skedaddle and depart, man. All this, the whole great melting pot project is going to be brought to an end. It's why it's conflict is going to hit that fever pitch. And that's the thing, it's a foundation of how these things are going to come about. Hey, it's hella visible. It's done, it's already been very clear that all these racial tensions are there. This is something that's within the general space, the race side is just one aspect of it. But in general, there's all kinds of tensions between different parts of society. And hey, once it's given an outlet, all form of chaos is going to descend. And this is part of the plans of the elites, the Hegelian dialectic, having was it point, counterpoint, and then synthesis, man, where they'll introduce you know, they've basically made it so now all forms of racial tensions are being heightened. Then it's going to devolve into complete chaos. Then it's going to be like, yo, neither of these work. We're going to have to come with this whole new system. And that's how Esau's coming out. He's pushing that new system, man, through these this parity. But yeah, I'll leave it there. Lord willing, you're edified. Yeah, Lord willing, next week we'll be back. Praise to see how about Shem Yahshua, Hashem Harakah Kadash. Double honor to the apostles and those who don't know, so well, Shalom.